It'll just fall on Davis.
Yeah, bye, buddy. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Last one was great, by the way.
Oh, it was good? You liked it?
This was good, yeah.
Okay, cool. We need to do more advertising about that one because did you see how Alex's did?
That one
Are
did
we
pretty
live?
well.
Are we live right now? Oh my God. Let me play the intro. Dean's List, hosted by Dean Kitaboski, produced by Davis Piper. We're about to talk to some really interesting people. Get ready. All right, Rahill Jaiswal, sports broadcaster, podcaster, extraordinaire.
God.
You've actually been killing it. I listened to some of your podcasts.
Thank you, thank you,
You're
thank
well
you.
aware of that.
Yeah, I am.
I'm the only reason you've talked about the poverty franchise that are the Suns.
No, the Pelicans.
Or not the Suns, the Pelicans. Yeah, the Suns are poverty. The Pelicans. I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
I love
Thank
your
you very
podcast.
much, Dean. I
Of course,
appreciate that.
Of course. Anyway, we were talking about country music, which I'm sure you were very happy about.
No, I'm not a country music fan.
What do you listen to? You said Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. And it really, Sean Kingston's also another one who's up there.
He's so good.
He's
great?
I have no idea where he is now.
Oh,
He's completely fallen off, but I like some of his older stuff. So yeah, Michael Jackson, Sean Kingston, a couple older songs too.
Billie Jean. Saying that.
Yep.
It's your favorite song.
Yeah, that's my favorite Michael Jackson song, probably. Yeah, by a long shot. He has some other. I don't know. I feel like people don't really know that one. They more know Beat It, but actually, no, is Billie Jean the most famous one?
Billie Jean's the most famous one.
Is it?
Or
It
after
might be.
Thriller. After Thriller.
After Thriller.
Everyone knows
yeah,
Thriller.
Yeah, everyone knows Thriller. Yeah.
Billie Jean, I told you this. I've heard it, but I don't remember any of the words or the concepts.
So, yeah, you're like, wait, the tennis player? No, it's
No, it's not
many
the-
people get that confused. It's not the tennis player.
It's not the tennis player.
It's basically about when he was like a kid. He used to have. Or not a kid, he was with his brothers in the Jackson 5. They used to have groupies, and basically his brothers and him used to get like a bunch of notes from just like random strangers, like, you're my son's father. But like I think,
Awesome.
but like this one was like extra scary because like she kept sending him like more and more pictures, and so eventually, he made a song about it. Also, another interesting fact is he actually almost died making the song.
Billie Jean?
Yeah, because he was
Why?
he was thinking of the beat in his Rolls Royce car. But he was so invested, he didn't know that the car was like actually like the engine was like on fire, was like smoking. No, I swear to God, it's a true story.
Sounds right.
And so like a kid, like someone on the road had to tell him to
like, dude, stop vibing.
He's like,
Get out of
your
the
car's on
burning car.
fire. So shout out to that guy who saved his life.
Oh my gosh! And he was a kid when he was in the Jackson 5.
He was young.
Started really young.
He was really young.
I don't know when he went solo. No idea.
No, neither do I. But he was pretty young when Thriller came out.
Yeah.
He was like what? Probably still a teenager, maybe.
Yeah. It's crazy because if someone's sending him letters, you're the father of my son to this 17-year-old. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure I am. Like who's going for that? Nobody. I mean,
no
sure,
idea.
sure. Michael Jackson got around, but you know what I'm saying.
They used to get like a lot of letters, so he didn't think much of it. But then she like kept sending him like over and over again. He's like, okay, this is pretty scary.
Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, leave me alone, please.
Michael Jackson's career path is so weird to me.
Yeah, it's like I don't get it. It's like there's a lot of controversy, obviously, you know, with the whole allegation. I don't even want to talk about that stuff because like
Whatever.
there's a whole documentary on that. I have not watched that, but I've heard
I have no
about it.
intention on watching it either.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
just
heard
like,
about it.
yeah.
But
I mean that. What's up?
Because he did it.
Yeah, because he did it.
Let's...
Yeah. No, but that and like, so we got to talk about this too. He was a good-looking dude in his early 20s.
He was, yeah,
he
he
got
was.
so much surgery.
Yeah, he completely changed
His skin color.
changed skin color.
He completely changed his skin color.
Yeah, it doesn't.
What was he trying to accomplish?
It's like, do you know who Sammy Sosa is? He's an
No.
old baseball player. Google him. He's completely changed his skin.
Really?
Like skin now. Like when he was like 19 years old in the major leagues for baseball, he was completely different. He looked like he's from the Dominican Republic. So
Okay.
he looked like that. But now he's like completely like white.
That's so weird.
It's so weird.
What's the point?
They did it. You can actually. I have no idea. I have no idea how and why. But
Someone tried to convince me that was not done on purpose and that it came as a result of other plastic surgeries he did.
no, it had to be
Come
on
on.
purpose. It's
Come
like,
on.
You have to know that like your skin, you're changing
This
your
is
skin
ridiculous.
color.
And also, you saw, see the pictures, the transition videos of his nose?
I have not seen those, but
So
his
by
nose definitely does
his
look-
nose was collapsing at the end of his life. Why would you do that
I
to
don't know.
yourself?
Because cocaine and collapses.
Was it cocaine?
Was
I'm not
it?
surprised.
Nose deflates if you do
I
too
don't
much
know.
cocaine.
I mean, he also got a ridiculous amount of reconstructive surgeries though on his nose,
Yeah.
just on his face in general, but on his nose. And at the end of his life, you see pictures of like he's got a Band-Aid on his nose, holding it from falling in,
Yeah, I just
collapsing on itself.
It's strange. Very,
It's really,
very
really
strange
weird.
to say the least. But,
That industry, that industry is so
Because
weird.
like he died pretty young. He was only like in his I want to say he's 50.
He was 55.
He was
I think,
55.
something
Yeah,
something
so it
around
was
there.
like
He had vitiligo, which is like
Yes, he did. I learned that the other day.
like a skin pigment disease.
oh, I didn't know that.
Pigment in your
Yeah, you know which one that is, right? It's like
It's the
people have blotches of darker or lighter skin. than their
oh
actual
okay
skin
okay
tone.
okay got you.
So I did read about that and had no idea. Was it on his arms? I thought it was on his arms. That's why I wear so many long sleeve shirts, for a long time.
oh okay
yeah.
yeah.
Eventually, just like
Right.
went with it.
I read about that too. I mean, at that point, but still, why? You know, like totally alter your skin tone. It's a little weird. And that's like a pretty common, not to that extent. That
No,
was
but
really weird.
it's a common
but
thing.
It's a common
like
thing.
people do it all the time. Like it's
At the end of the day, it's a plastic surgery.
it is yeah. I mean plastic surgery's huge now. So many
Oh,
people
huge.
huge.
And he wasn't getting a Brazilian butt lift or anything, but at the same time, like this was way worse actually. than a Brazilian butt lift. I mean, you know, at what point do you realize, damn, I really like messed myself up?
I mean, is there any going back after you do it?
No.
No, that's the thing. So it's like
I mean,
like you-
with some there are. Like I know you can remove Botox. You can remove,
Yeah,
but
I
it
mean,
doesn't.
yeah.
You won't look like you used to because you know you changed your face and you can't really go back to what it used to be. But you can get rid of stuff, a lot of it.
yeah, it's
There's no changing your skin tone back.
no,
that being
that's
said,
long gone.
that's gone. And I think his nose was done at the end. So you said it was cocaine. I'm not surprised. I know he had a lot of drug problems. But like in the music industry, plastic surgery is like a given.
Oh, even in
Everybody
not
has
just
plastic
music,
surgery.
even in TV industry, like you look at like a lot of like older like hosts in their 50s or 60s, like you can tell they've had like plastic surgery
Right.
both done to their face, like,
Right.
and it is what it is, obviously, because they have to look better.
You know, we talked to Kenny Backus in the last episode about body dysmorphia that comes from. We were talking about steroids specifically, but it applies here too. As you were saying, it's a huge thing in the TV industry. It's because it's their job to look good. So at some point they're like,
it's like,
plastic surgery is my
it's-
only response, right?
but
mean-
like sometimes it's like so extreme, like you can see it, like.
Oh, not sometimes. Pretty common.
Most of the time, actually. I mean, like, I'll be watching something, and then my mom comes in and be like, "Oh, that person's done a lot of plastic surgery." I'm like, I can't notice this stuff. I'm completely oblivious to all
Right.
this stuff. But like,
Beauty's beauty, man. Doesn't matter how you get it. Yes, it does.
but like, yeah, some people like it's pretty obvious what
Right.
they've had stuff change to their face, and like,
Right.
I don't know. It's like,
And
I
that's the
can
thing.
imagine. Would you ever get
Plastic surgery?
would
I'm
you ever
good.
get
I need a
plastic
Brazilian
surgery?
butt lift. Let me get one of those butt lifts. Gotta
What
have
about,
the
what about you, Davis?
badonkadonk.
Davis, would you get plastic surgery?
Would you get plastic surgery, Davis?
I'd probably
Why are you thinking about this? The answer is no.
probably get like I changed my face to look like a dragon or something.
Oh, have you seen the guys with the black eyes? They tattoo their eyes.
What?
So
No,
it's
I
all
haven't seen
black.
this.
It's terrifying. It's so scary.
Oh
Or
my God.
remember those Ripley's Believe It or Not books?
Yeah.
Were you ever read these? It would give you crazy facts and show you pictures of people that
yeah.
There was this one dude. They nicknamed him the Human Snake.
Okay.
His skin, colored it, tattooed it all green, and got scales on his skin.
Ugh.
And then he cut a slit in his tongue to look like a snake's.
Oh my God.
It was ridiculous.
Horns and shit, too.
Yeah, he had horns. That's right. I forgot
he
about that.
actually?
Yeah, he got horns implanted. It's a little scary.
A little.
I mean, to be fair, it's really cool, but
I
like,
mean,
I'd never do
I
it.
never do it. I mean,
no.
hey Davis, if you want to like
Yeah, if you're
get like
trying to.
if you try to get like a dragon face, that'd be pretty sick. You'd show up to like our 25, 30 year reunion, high school reunion with a dragon face. That'd be
over
that'd be
time,
a
you like
talking
turn into a
point,
dragon.
Yeah.
That'd actually be really funny. It'd be really scary though.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd
Imagine
be awesome.
not seeing somebody for 20 years and then they come back and
They just have-
they're a
they just
dragon.
have dragon face.
That'd be really funny.
Oh my god.
But anyway, getting like plastic surgery is a big thing in sports too, especially for people that retire. I don't know
Oh
if-
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, because especially because it's more in like contact sports, like wrestling, boxing, all those
Mhm.
things. But once they retire, their faces are so beat up, they're like plastic surgery time, and then
Yeah,
they like
it's-
go in to fix everything. You can tell though.
Yeah, you can
can tell.
100% tell.
I mean, that's different than obviously like a nose surgery or something. Or like in the NFL too, there's a lot of facial injuries. Or not the NFL, but more NBA because they don't have like helmets and masks. And
Yeah, I'd say more of the NBA. Back then, there's actually like a story of someone who actually like who got punched and he almost like died on the court. So
stuff.
like,
Really?
yeah, like
Wow.
this is way back in like maybe the 70s and 80s. Now in the NBA, you can't touch anyone.
Literally.
You can't touch anyone.
And
without
I
them
complain about that all the time.
Yeah. So, but like back then, it like used to be like really, really physical. So, I mean, I'm not surprised if a lot of players have, especially considering a lot of players get like former players get jobs on TV because they're
Mhm.
former players.
Right.
So that just like that sort of adds to it.
Right. And even players that were like, obviously, anyone at that level is really good at their sport. But even players that weren't that great for the league, a lot of them end up going on TV.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
an easy draw to get someone who is a former player on TV just because they have stories about how how whatever it used to work. Like I don't know if you just saw, but literally they just announced that Tom Brady, once he retires, is going to get an NFL like a job on like Fox for the NFL. Shock. So,
Right.
but like, so it happens all the time, and I have mixed feelings about it, but. I mean, a lot of sometimes it works out.
I know JJ Redick.
He's been great. He's been
Has been
awesome.
fantastic.
I love JJ Redick on.
Oh, he's been awesome,
He's
and
been
he's been because he's like one of the rare few who's not just there for the money. He's there to have a good time. This guy,
he
have you
has his own.
seen
He has his own podcast.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome.
It's great. And then, but when he goes on the news stations, or not the news stations, they like ESPN,
networks, yeah.
the networks. He's going head to head with these guys. Like relentless, because like they're saying stuff and he's like disagreeing. He's gonna speak his mind. A lot of people don't do that, but it's so entertaining to listen to him like argue with these random.
It's a breath
analysts.
of fresh air
Mhm.
because a lot of I don't know. I have mixed feelings about a lot of analysts on TV because like they'll change their reaction like so instantly,
Mhm.
and it's like, didn't you just say like the opposite thing yesterday?
Right.
So I mean, like at least wait till over time, then you can change your opinion. We can't change it after like one day. It's like,
Credit where it's due. I hate Skip Bayless, but he is resilient.
I have mixed feelings about Skip Bayless because if you actually listen to him talk objectively, which does happen, it's actually like his show with. I love their show with Shannon Sharp because the dynamic between the two is Shannon Sharp's hilarious. And again, he's one of those former players, but again, he's been awesome in that.
He's hilarious
in that role.
And Skip Bayless is not hilarious, so it works out, right?
But Skip actually hand chose Shannon Sharp to do the show with him. They were Fox wanted like another journalist, but Skip Bayless said no. I want him to do the show with me.
Right.
So I mean their dynamic is awesome, but like you listen to him and like when he talks objectively, it's like a breath of fresh. It's like this is actually really good, but then there'll be times where like he's just deluded in his own thing. I don't know if you saw, but it's funny. I pull up his Twitter every now and then because I want to see his tweets. I have never seen someone obsessed with LeBron James.
He has tweeted. I read this stat. He has tweeted about LeBron 38,000 times in his career.
And his wife has tweeted about him like 12 times.
Yeah, literally. It's just like,
It's
please,
like, so-
LeBron retire
no,
so I can have my husband back.
So it was like it was actually really funny because I don't know if you see, but LeBron James, he has a new Ruffles commercial.
No, I haven't seen this.
He has a new. It's basically so he tweets like, "Hey LeBron, I got an answer for you on your Ruffles question. Neither lay off like the wine, tequila, and Ruffles, and get ready for the season, or you're gonna be Lagon again." It's like it has nothing to do with what's going on.
Lay off the Ruffles, or you're gonna be bad at basketball. hey, you heard it here first.
I don't.
That's so
and it's
funny.
It's funny, but it's like, why do you need to? There's no.
Did you see MJ and LeBron they both have their own tequila companies.
I don't know about. I know LeBron has. I don't know.
Yeah, LeBron has one. MJ has one too. They actually, and someone made a joke about this, but they went head to head for like the best tequila company, and it's just like this is the closest to a 1v1 of these two we're ever gonna get.
Knowing Michael Jordan, he probably wants to like smash LeBron.
Oh yeah, It's so competitive.
He's crazy. He's a crazy crazy competitor. He's
for real.
Probably still is now.
But do you prefer listening to former players as broadcasters?
See, it depends. I actually don't. I'll listen to JJ Redick the most. I like it with guys like JJ who have their podcast because I like to see like former or like current players talk about what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
And like the thing about JJ Redick is he's been a part of like so many different teams. So he's got and he's one of those guys that's a very good leader. So you'll know. So it's interesting to hear from him. And there are other guys like I don't mind Kendrick Perkins, but like I'm not a huge fan of him. But I'd say JJ Redick and Shannon Sharp are my two favorite. Although I will say when Undisputed got Ray Lewis on with Shannon Sharp, former teammates, that was awesome because Ray Lewis again is going to speak his mind and he's also really funny. So that was cool. So it's again like certain players are just good at the job and certain players are just naturals. Well, some are not. Like Rob Gronkowski came on when he was retired for a little bit. He came on Fox and it was awful. Like, he was not comfortable on camera. It just wasn't his. And that's how it is. You know, some players are good at it. Some players are not. That's just how it is.
It's charismatic. It has nothing to do with the game.
No, it doesn't.
It has nothing to do with the game. You can be. I mean, we talk about this with teachers all the time. You can be the smartest guy on the planet and be a terrible teacher. Same kind of deal. You can be the best athlete out there and not be able to say a word about how it's done or like what you wouldn't know how to react on camera.
Exactly.
So
that's why I think Tom Brady going to be on is it's going to be interesting. But again, I think Tom Brady will be fine because he probably has the highest IQ of almost any athlete. But,
absolutely.
Drew Brees also he's now on NBC for that. That's been cool to watch. I think he's also had a natural sort of fit. So yeah, it's again, but it's sort of like again like mixed emotions because I know for a fact it's just the way the industry is that former athletes and players are just gonna have a bias to it, and
right.
it's annoying, but it is how it works.
So you're not you're a former basketball player. I know that. Played basketball for a year in there, right?
For a while.
Right. For a few years?
I played in 8th grade. 8th grade was my last year. But
I know you and John teamed up.
Yeah, actually, funny story. Me and John, I don't think we ever teamed up at the same exact time. So when he played when we went to Stanwich and he played in like 7th grade, I wasn't on the team. Now,
you just decided not to.
I know. I didn't want to be on the team.
Right.
John was on the team then, and then when we got to 8th grade, I for the winter sports here, you could have either chose basketball or like conditioning or weightlifting. And if you guys know anything about me, ain't no way I'm choosing conditioning. So I was like, I'll go play basketball, and John decided to do conditioning because John's a gym big
John
gym
is a
warrior.
gym boy now.
Yeah. So that was sort of like the start.
But when you're so you didn't play, but you know a lot about these sports. As I was saying, I listen to your podcast, which I'll do a quick plug for right now. Nothing But Sports on Spotify with Rahill Jaiswal, one of the greatest podcasts out there. But you know a lot about a lot of different sports. You talk mostly about NBA and NFL, a little bit about MLB. I know you talked about the lockout a few weeks ago. You don't do hockey.
I try and get in. I get into hockey for the playoffs, so I've been watching as many playoff games as possible. But no, I try and get into hockey, but hockey is sort of here and there.
Okay.
And then I'll get into golf when the major tournaments come around. And yeah, I just try and get into as many sports as possible. College basketball also is another huge one, especially for the tournament. I'll try and literally watch almost every single game for the tournament.
Yeah.
If again, it's tough, but like obviously I'm not gonna watch every single minute, every single game, but I try and like flip back.
Why not, Rahill? Why not?
Because
there's 6 going at the same time.
There's 4. There's 4 going at the same time. So unless I decide to put one on the TV, on my phone, and then maybe split screen my laptop, I could do that. But at that point, it's it's just too much.
It's excessive. There's no
There's
point.
no point. You might as well focus on one game. But
Right. What's your favorite college basketball team to watch? Or what for this past March Madness? What was your favorite to watch?
Oh god, for this past March Madness, I think I enjoyed I enjoyed the North Carolina team. They I thought they really they had an unbelievable run, national championship and all. Had the double-digit lead in the national championship. I thought it was nice that we got to see we got to see kind of a combination of everything. We got to see the Cinderellas, in St. Peter's getting to the Elite Eight.
Definitely.
But then in the Final Four, it was pretty much almost an all blue blood final. North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and then Villanova, who you can say has recently been a blue blood. So it was kind of like a combination of everything. But I thought this year's tournament was awesome. Obviously, it was cool to have full capacity fans there, which is
game
awesome.
Changer.
Which is awesome, especially for March Madness, because they happen in neutral sites. So basically, like when the game starts getting close, obviously the neutral site is going to shift towards the lower seed or the underdogs.
Right.
So that probably really helps because they can generate off the crowd. But
right, I mean, also, and you saw I'm sure you watched the bubble in the NBA.
I did, yes.
It was so boring to watch without fans.
Yeah, it was. It's tough. It's tough to play. I don't know how they were able to play without fans. For me, again, since it's basketball and stuff, I don't find it that boring. But again,
right.
But again, if you're like a fan, like a casual fan sort of thing, yeah, I can see how it was easily boring. And in fact, the numbers will back it up. That was the lowest, as far as ratings go. That was the lowest the NBA Finals had been. I mean, they were barely treading they weren't even respectable numbers. They were way down, and again, that was probably because all sports were going on at the same time.
Right.
And obviously, I think and NBA got a little too political, and that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way there. Rubbed some people the wrong way there, but now, so the ratings were really down that year. It was actually like jaw dropping to see how bad the ratings were. But obviously now, now they're playing a normal schedule and everything. It's sort of back to like normal ratings.
I'm a big supporter of politics in sports. I don't know about you, and I'm sure you've got like a real opinion on it.
See, I think.
But I was just saying real quick. I was just saying like I really do like the idea because it's a national stage. It doesn't. All sorts of people watch the NBA, so that's why I really support it, as opposed to, different situation. Like in actual politics, you lose a big chunk of just average people because they're just not that as interesting. But on the other hand, you get really big and well-known players talking about their opinions on different things. I think that's a really good thing. I'm sure you have an opinion that you want to flesh out right now.
Yeah,
but
so I definitely think there's a place for political. Listen, I'm not going to knock any sort of players on their political beliefs. I think the problem that we run into as a society is if you don't believe the same thing I do politically, that automatically makes you a bad person. And it's far from that. We might have, completely different political views, but I'm not going to judge you as a person based on that. But I feel like where we are now sort of in society, if someone has like a political opinion or who you support, like I've run into people where who are, if they run into like a Trump supporter, they automatically say, "Oh, he's a bad person," or he or she's a bad person. I'm like, they might not agree on everything you say, but you can't judge a person based on their political beliefs because it is their beliefs, and you can have discussions with them. But
I hate when that happens. More broadly, I hate when people group individuals in because of one belief of theirs, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
People, because there are obviously Trump supporters, Clinton supporters, whoever you support, that believe in a lot of different things. Like there are Clinton supporters that believe in a small economy or a small government, sorry, and there are Trump supporters that believe that there should be a lot of government programs out there. So it really irks me when someone's like, "Oh, you're a Trump supporter? Okay, you must be a bad person." Or you're a Clinton supporter? Wow, liberal type thing. Because there's more to it than that. I don't know if you went over this. And maybe did you ever hear of Lear Nickham?
No, I did not. I've not.
I think he was the one that told me this. But George Washington never wanted a two-party system, specifically because of issues like this. because then people would group themselves into different groups, and now you'd have a huge divide in the country, which is so obvious now. And it's a really negative thing.
Yeah, and it again, like going back to sports, like it kind of brings up the whole Kyrie Irving situation. People will judge him based on his decision to not get vaccinated. And listen, I don't agree with that decision, but again, at the end of the day, it is his choice. If you want to like judge him based on his like, what I try to judge players strictly on their pure play. Again, I ain't got nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with players going out and expressing their opinion about political issues. Although Kyrie Irving is a strange fella, I think he still thinks. I don't know if he still thinks the Earth is flat.
I bet you he uses like rune stones on the weekends.
But again, like I don't have any problem with him expressing his desire not to, or same thing in tennis with Novak Djokovic. If he didn't want to get vaccinated, I mean that's fine. I mean he had to pay the price for it because he couldn't play the Australian Open. But
there's also a big cultural divide there with us and Djokovic. Because in parts of Europe, getting vaccinated just isn't a huge thing. Like they don't care about it or talk about it as much as we do. I mean, granted, Americans love to talk about any and everything, so that's probably the main reason. But in a lot of parts of the world, getting vaccinated isn't a huge divide like it is here. So, but I know exactly what you're saying, and I honestly think it's a good thing that they held firm. They said you have to be vaccinated to play this. We're not going to make an exception for a big star.
There you go. Exactly.
It would have been fun to watch him play, of course. I love watching tennis, especially the Australian and U.S. Open. Those are my two favorites. But at the same time, it's definitely a good thing they didn't, crack under the pressure. You got to hold firm on some things.
Yeah, again, when it was first announced that he had the exemption to go play. Now, the only part that I will favor him in is the tournament. So the tournament itself, like the town it's in, I think Victoria, they have like a separate government.
Okay.
So that government, I think, actually like granted him the exemption.
Right.
But then when he got to the border, they said no, like the exemption doesn't like. So
the Australian government.
Yeah,
said no.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like the two governments are like differing, and that's where I'm kind of like on his side. It's like, well, if you were never going to let me in the first place, why did you grant me the exemption in the first place? And then completely stopped because he was stuck at the border for a while, and it must have been like a huge, like emotionally taxing process for him because then the judge overturned his ruling, so then he could play.
Am I get to play? No, never mind.
And then he was granted in to play, and the next thing you know, a couple court cases later, he's not allowed to play, and then he appeals it, and then he loses the appeal, and then he goes back. But that was like. I'm glad it finished before the tournament started because then that would have been a huge like conversation to go with. And again, a lot of players came out in support of him, which it's okay. But at the end of the day, that was the rule, and you can't make exceptions just for big stars because then that's not. I don't know if you know this, but actually, a smaller player who's going to play had the exact same thing happen, but they didn't have the resources to try and go to court with it.
They probably didn't even have a conversation about it. Government was like, you can't come in. They're like, all right.
So obviously that player got sent back,
right.
And they didn't have the resources that Novak has to try and fight the case.
Or the publicity.
So
it's mostly about publicity. Do you think the Australian government would have cared at all if it hadn't become a big deal online?
That's true.
And like, go home. Go home, man. This is what we're doing, And that totally goes back to in that case, he wasn't even speaking his mind. He was just, I'm not vaccinated. Can I play anyway type thing?
Yeah.
But that turned into a huge thing. Like, Novak Djokovic isn't vaccinated. It's a big deal. It wasn't a big deal at the time.
If it's you're not vaccinated, that's okay.
I mean, it's fine. It's your choice. I mean, I say it's fine loosely. Because of course there are like health benefits to the people around them and everything like that. We're not going to get into that, but it goes back to the speak your mind. It's your choice.
Yeah, again.
But generally speaking, I don't mind at all when athletes speak their minds.
The only time I start to mind it is like if that starts to dominate and sort of take away from the sort of the game.
100%
itself.
Yep.
Like. So, again, like, I'm full in support. I don't know, remember when Colin Kaepernick started kneeling for the national anthem? That was a huge deal, but I didn't really pay much attention to it because I wasn't old enough. And now now he's still trying to get another opportunity.
Right.
And some people think he's been blackballed from the
I mean, you see the responses to
NFL.
that, though, right?
Yeah.
He's like, all right, you have to tell me this. Do you think Colin Kaepernick's NFL worthy?
See, I think you can honestly sign him to maybe like a practice squad, like backup sort of role, because he
was fantastic in college, right?
He was fantastic when he first came into the league. Got him to the Super Bowl, was awesome. But the thing is, like, he hasn't played for 5 or 6 years now, or like, so to take a chance on him is extremely difficult. So I think the one thing I don't know, Antonio Brown,
Yeah.
the sort of what his situation kind of proves is, if you're good enough, the NFL is going to give you
your shot,
some sort of chance. So whether teams are just haven't seen enough of him, maybe again if he wants to get signed to a practice squad and then they can get a look at him and see if he's good enough from there, then maybe. But
generally speaking, teams are willing to take the risk. If you're a good player, then they'll take the risk.
Look at Cleveland.
Right.
Deshaun Watt, $230 guaranteed $1 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And this,
So when
yeah,
you
what's
have
up?
a second, we have some crowdsourced questions.
Oh, do we really?
I'm gonna ask Rahill.
From
Okay.
who?
Switch with me whenever you get a lull in the conversation, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll just add, we'll do a segment and then we'll switch back.
Okay, you want to do that now?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Do it now. All right,
Alright,
Davis
cool.
is coming. Davis is coming in for a little bit. So you got some questions? You want me to read them out to you?
Questions, yeah.
I'll read them out to you. All right.
No, I got it right here.
We read them. It's fine.
Make it more.
No.
Oh, you want to read?
No,
No,
I'll read
Let's go, Davis.
All right, hello everyone. This is my first appearance on the podcast. I'm usually behind the cameras. You're on Rahill right now. If you want. Okay, Okay, switch to me. There you go. All right, hello everyone. All right, so Rahill, we're gonna start off. We have a couple questions about the worship of you.
Oh God.
So, for those who don't know, which you should, there was a cult of Rahill that was started, I believe, in sophomore year, where we had.
So, was it sophomore or freshman year?
I think it might have been freshman year. Well, anyways, we had quite a bit of people on a shared Google document where we created a pseudo Bible for Rahill, praising him as God. We had a whole mythology, we had backstory, we had everything. But just wondering, how you feel to this day about being a deity, at King's School, and how that's affected, your personal life.
Davis, the document hasn't been active for.
I think
For
people,
4 years.
It's still a valuable religion. People still believe in it. What do you say to them?
God. If you believe in it, then that's great. I don't. I remember. What was it? Was it you and Adam who used to come up to me in the hallway and like, or no, all three, and Nick.
Nick and Alex, I think, were really into the praying.
Yeah, they started
in the middle
like
of the hallway
they would
part.
like come to me and start like bowing. I'd be like, please get,
Yeah.
please get out.
Yeah. Personally, I still hold on to it a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I pray to you before tests. It's saved me in a lot of situations. I feel like, but moving on. We have a quote. You said, quote, I think Mao Zedong was right. Honestly, I would have done the same thing. What did you mean by that?
That is not a quote by me. First of all.
I mean, I'm just wondering.
No.
Honestly, it was just kind of out of the blue.
No,
really,
Davis, I don't know where you got that quote from, but that is
All right, no,
not
if you don't want to.
true.
All right, you don't want to do that one. We have also another controversy. I have been asking to come on your podcast for probably like 2 years at this point, and you just haven't made my request.
Okay,
and here
well,
we are on my podcast now.
Okay, the thing is, David, I mean, it's a sports podcast. And
Yes.
Davis has come up to me and said he knows nothing
I know
about.
nothing about
So
sports.
again, like, what? What do you,
I mean, as a good friend, Rahill, I just my one request. If I had
Okay,
if
how
I were to
about-
make a wish, it would be to be on Rahill's
Okay, how about-
sports podcast.
all right, the original plan was we were supposed to do episode, what was it, 69 together. That was the original plan. That didn't.
Yeah.
That fell
I
through.
mean, it wasn't planned. I just wanted to be on anyway.
Yeah, but we will. How about this? We will eventually in the summertime, maybe one of the last episodes I do before I go to college.
really,
We will get you on.
are you going to continue in college?
I hope I'm gonna continue in college. I'm gonna take my equipment with me, but yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get you on before before like so there's like a sort of like a last send off before we go to college. How about that?
All right, that's good. I feel like I'm happy coming out of this experience. I'm gonna hand it back to Dean now. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all for having me. I really switch to my camera.
Yeah. Oh, your camera.
My camera, yeah. No, not Rahill's. Thank you all for having me. This has been an honor. I'm usually behind the camera because Dean doesn't feed me, pay me, or really do anything. I'm basically just a slave with this. I didn't sign on for this. So thank you guys again. And we're back to Rahill.
Okay.
What the hell was that? Sorry, what the HE double hockey sticks? Not allowed to swear on here. Sorry about the Mao Zedong question, Rahill. I didn't see that coming at all. But actually, Davis brings up a good point about your podcast. So you've never told me when you. I know you have 71 episodes now, meaning it's been going on for at least a year or two, right?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, when was the? I can maybe pull up. I think sophomore year was maybe the first time I ever did an episode, and then I didn't upload for like 3 months after that. And then my like I sort of started to think like, now I kind of feel bad. Maybe I should.
You got all your viewers excited, and then you didn't continue.
Wasn't get all my viewers excited, but my parents helped me out a lot, and I was like, I should probably start picking things up. So then I started picking things. Then that's when I started trying to do weekly episodes. Obviously, it's now a lot more difficult because it was a lot easier to do weekly episodes for the NFL season. So I just do picks for every single game, and I had like a master spreadsheet of all my picks and stuff. But so now obviously it's a lot more difficult to upload every week. Obviously, I've missed now
I think 2 weeks,
2 or 3 weeks now, and then I missed 2 or 3 weeks before I last uploaded. So it's a struggle, but the thing is, I kind of like it, like sort of not having it planned out. So because then I feel like I don't have to force myself to sit down and record because it's supposed to be something that's like fun and something I enjoy. So if I feel like doing one, I'll do one. If I don't feel like doing one, then I'm not gonna try and like force myself to fake my enjoyment to try and do it.
I mean, what people don't really break down often is that there's like TV shows, there's different genres of podcasts and there's different types of podcasts. So Davis and I we call it a long-form conversational podcast because it's just a long conversation. Pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. And for us, there's not much preparation that goes into it. We come in here, we sit down and we talk to our guests.
Yeah.
And I prepare some questions mentally, like prior to it, because everybody that comes on here is a thing they do, a reason to be here. Alex is a filmmaker. Kenny's a blind student athlete. You have your own podcast. You're a great sports broadcaster. We have a very, very special guest coming on Thursday who is a secret for now, but I'll tell you afterwards who it is. That being said, it's pretty easy for me to just do things on the fly, have a conversation. You have a lot of preparation that goes into it. You have to watch all the games. You have to keep up with all the news. You have to, and that's not just news involving the sports. We just had a political conversation about it too. There's a lot of different things that go into it. That's why I say different genres. Ours is, as I said, it's kind of like a freestyle show, I guess you could describe it as. Yours, there's a lot of preparation. How much do you prepare for these podcasts in advance?
When I first started, I didn't prepare much sort of at all. I sort of went, and that's when I kind of I was like, that's where I think I've improved is I've started to prepare more. So when I started this NFL season doing all the before what I used to do was I just used to pick 5 highlighted games for the week, and I just do those 5 predictions. But then I was like, I might as well try and do as much as possible, so why not pick all the games that week? Now, obviously, the Thursday night game, I pick who's going to win on Wednesday, and then I don't actually say it on the podcast, so people just have to trust me. I'm not going to lie.
Pick the Dolphins to beat the Chiefs, yes.
I'm not going to lie. But so when that started happening, that's when the preparation kind of went up because I started to write out who's going to win and why I sort of think. So I had to look at every game and be like, oh, this guy might not be playing, stuff like that. So that's when the preparation really started to go up, and I think that's when now I've got a much better product of an episode. Even when I will go on. Oh, yeah. When I'll go on occasional rants, which
I love your rants so much.
note down just a couple like rough points I want to hit. So I'll write down like 3 things, nothing much in depth, but just like some stuff I want to cover. So I at least have some sort of structure to my rant.
So bullet points.
Yeah, pretty much.
okay.
Pretty much bullet points. Yes.
That's great. It feels scripted. That's how good it is. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. It feels scripted because it's fluid. If anyone hasn't listened to Rahill's podcast, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I listen to this thing on long drives, not even kidding, to and from school sometimes too. And it's so fluid and smooth, it feels scripted because you go from issue to issue. You have in the title of the podcast, I mean, you can describe
I just basically write like it's just what I'm talking about. I'm not like gonna I don't know. I don't think I'll ever put like some sort of play on words in the title, but
right. Just breaking news.
So then you get like titles that are extremely long. So if you it's funny if you look at my every time I go to look and see, all the episodes I've done, I just see like one topic and then a bunch of dot because the title never
right. It just keeps going and going. I actually really like that. You're straight up about it. You're not trying. In this episode, Rahill will reveal Debo Samuel's darkest secrets.
I can put it in the description, but like not many people are gonna read the description.
Right.
So.
I mean, and what we do, we just say episode number whatever and then dash guest, which is pretty straightforward. As you said, not many people read the description, but we do write a little description, write about what we talked about and all that stuff. But did you ever consider, like, you don't have an Instagram for your podcast?
No,
I know that.
Yeah.
Did you ever consider making social media accounts that you could post little clips on?
See,
because yours is broken up beautifully.
That would maybe be something I might want to try, maybe like in college or something. But the thing is, mine again. Mine's just audio, so trying to break it up into clips on Instagram could be tough. But maybe I can get a little face cam going. I mean,
just
again,
on your
like
computer. Yeah.
it's really simple. I mean, especially like now with Zoom. Zoom has made it like so simple. All you have to do is just like hit the record button and and I don't even have to use my equipment.
Right.
The
That's
audio
true.
the audio comes out perfectly fine. So maybe
or
that's
even there, you just hook your microphone up to the computer with USB.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's become really, really, really simple now. So maybe that's something I can do in the future. But again, I just try and promote it as much as possible. So I'll put it on my Instagram.
Right.
And yeah, that's
because your clips are broken down really beautifully. Like you talk about one thing. All right, now we're talking about this. All right, now we're talking about this. So you could split.
Yeah,
that
I could easily actually go through and probably check. Like even in the description, I can give you a number. I can check the what clip you'd want to do in case you only want to listen to one part of the episode. Maybe I'll do that going forward.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'd totally follow. I'm just putting that out there. You talked about college. You're gonna keep doing it in college, which I love. You're going to school. You're going to Syracuse.
Yep.
What's the program? What's the program you're doing?
I'm doing the broadcast and digital journalism major, which is
and the carpet just fell. We thought that would happen. Yeah. Anyway,
Davis is on it though.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
So that's the major I'm intending to do it. And again, I plan on sticking in that major, but again, I doubt I'll switch.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, a little nervous to go to college, but excited.
Right.
For the most part, kind of like everyone. Alex is going with me.
Yeah, you and Resnick are going together.
So that'll be fun. He's gonna do film. I assume. Yeah. He's gonna something to do with film in college. But yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be interesting. I've kind of like shout out John. John's mom is actually the one who recommended the school when I was.
Told me about this. Yeah.
When my mom was like first talking about, you might want to do something in sport broadcast. And John's mom was like, you can look at Syracuse. They have a really good program, and kind of since then that's been sort of at the top of the list.
That's been the goal. Right?
That's been the goal. I had a phase where I was considering Arizona State University.
Mm-hmm.
That was also a really good option, and
that also gets you in with like the good sports teams too.
Yeah, also considering that the campus is like 2 minutes away from almost every single stadium.
Right.
So
right.
that would have been that was also an option, but I think Syracuse was probably the number one as far as program goes.
I think they're one of the best in the country.
I think that
I think they are the best.
I think they are the best in the country. But, yeah.
So that's definitely going to be a great program for you, man. I mean, have you talked to anybody that's a part of it already?
Yeah. So I know I want to say 3 or 4 people who have gone through the program itself, or at least who are in the program today. So it's gonna be really fun. I'm excited for it. It's been tough trying to get as much experience as possible here, just because King, it's been tough. I think King has actually made a lot of really good strides since I've gotten here. Like, we've been able to get the equipment, sort of like you guys have got some equipment here, and actually do games, which has been really fun.
Right.
But again,
like filming games and stuff like that.
Filming games is always tough. It's always tough, especially outside, just because it's tough with the connection,
Right.
and the audio. But I'm actually really happy because this winter we had it. The school had it on lock when it came to putting games on YouTube. They put almost every single volleyball game, basketball game on YouTube, and that was something we actually tried out in my freshman year when we did a live stream for the volleyball homecoming game. And obviously it was rough, but it was the first time we had done it. And again, we did the homecoming game this year, and then that's the point where me and also shout out Zach Feldman. He does all the behind the scenes camera work that I don't know how he and Mr. Shoemaker, I don't know how they work all that equipment, but they somehow figure out a way to do it. But
put it all together.
But we were able to do some promotion for the homecoming event this year, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Also got to do some promotion for last year's. We did a baseball game. So
and that's a process. Putting all that together is a process.
Yeah, especially if you're going lives, switching camera angles like you guys do, making sure like my audio doesn't corrupt or go halfway through.
Which I heard it did a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that was on my own podcast.
On your own podcast.
Yeah, I
right.
lost I don't know, something happened with the file and it just corrupted, and I was like, I was pretty upset about that, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
So.
That really sucks. That set you back. Was a full episode until
full episode
wow.
with a rant as well.
Wow!
No. One of my better ones in there, but
I'm personally gonna go find it and really come back.
But again, it is what it is. But
right.
Yeah.
I mean, we live stream everything. Just it's so easy. I mean, I say it like as though it didn't take 20 minutes to set the live stream up today, but the aftermath is really easy.
Yeah,
that's what we can say.
It's like. It's crazy, sort of like how much access you have now with technology. I mean, like starting a podcast is it's probably like it's easy as it's ever been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like,
oh yeah.
Because literally all like some people would probably just put it in like the voice recording app in their
right.
phone, and that can be it. Now, like you guys are obviously experimenting with different things. You're using different camera angles and
right.
stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But like again, it's like there's so much access to equipment that like it's.
Right.
It's kind of cool how easy it is to start. Sort of like with my thing, I have this like I don't know if this sort of mixer thing is in shop, but I basically have just like a bigger version of that.
Okay.
Probably way too excessive and too big, but
Does it have? It's like 4 ports type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's pretty much exactly like that. I have a microphone.
So what I'm hearing,
here.
so yeah, 4 ports. So what I'm hearing is you could have both of us on your podcast, and there would be enough microphone space, right? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
I don't have. I
Crazy,
will say. I don't have. I only have one microphone.
Fair enough.
Okay, but if you two were to bring these.
We could share. I'd be happy to share.
Listen, if you
acapella
both
group.
want to come on, I can easily just set up a Zoom. All 3 of us can go in, and I can just record it.
I'm dying to be on your podcast.
And that would be it.
I want to come on.
He started a religion for you, Rahill.
No, but yeah. So again, like maybe in college, like I might want to do where we're both in person. That's something I haven't done yet, which would be really cool. I just need another microphone, but. Again, I have space for like maybe 4 or 5 microphones. So.
Oh, that's great.
So I could like it's we'll see how it goes in college, obviously. But
what's Syracuse's setup look like? Do they have like a studio that you can record in and everything?
They have a lot of TV sort of stations. So
okay.
I can't name all of them, but there's a lot of studios for filming school news. Stuff like that. It's really cool to go and see. When I went on a tour of the school, I was able to go see. My parents were like, "Oh, go take a picture." I was like, "I'm not taking a picture in the studio right now." And they're like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Because if I don't get into the school, it's gonna absolutely kill me looking back and seeing a picture of me in the studio. I'm not trying to jinx everything while everyone else is just like lining up like yeah, take a picture. Mom. I'm just like I don't know about.
It was exactly the same thing for me. Literally, when I went to visit, it was Notre Dame. I went to visit Notre Dame, and my dad was like, "You should get a T-shirt." And I was like, "Dad, I'm not getting a T-shirt unless I get in. It's gonna kill me." I didn't get in, and it killed me less than it would have if I had a T-shirt.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be. But have you met anybody that's going to be freshman next year with you? You talked to some people?
Besides Alex.
In your program, I should
in my
specify,
program,
Tyler
I
Galante?
don't think Tyler's doing the same programs. I don't think he's going to be. I think Alex is going to be in the communication school with me. I don't know if Tyler's going to be, because I don't know what Tyler is majoring in. So he might be in a completely different part of the school. But
Right.
I currently, as incoming freshman in the program, I do not know of. But
It'd be easy enough to meet people.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy enough.
You're a very charismatic guy.
But it'd be fun. It'd be fun to meet people in that program. But
For
yeah.
sure. Do you know what you want to do after you graduate? Have you put any thought in this? You want to be the next Skip Bayless?
See,
Yelling
I don't
about
know.
LeBron?
I think the main goal for me would try and do play-by-play or something like that, where I'm actually calling the game. But again, like I'm not.
Oh, you want to call the games?
Again, but
Ooh.
like I'm not opposed to go to if an opportunity comes up to be like on TV as like a TV show host. Like again, I'm not opposed to because there's so many different things like you can do. It's not sort of like, and who knows by the time I graduate how many different things there'll be. Now Amazon Prime is starting to start their own program.
Right.
They just covered a Yankee game on Mother's Day.
Oh, crazy.
Apple
I hate the
TV Plus
Yankees.
is also starting to get I think actually Amazon Prime. I think Joe Buck and a couple of the guys who used to work at Fox are going there.
I wouldn't be
So-
surprised. They
so,
have
like-
money to throw. Did you hear, actually, real quick, did you hear Amazon Prime threw $1 billion at this new Lord of the Rings TV series?
I did not know.
$1 billion. That's not chump change, buddy. I mean, for them it might be, but think about how much money that is.
Yeah, that's
And they've been building up their programs. They're huge now. They're absolutely
Yeah, so-
massive. And I know that they bought the one of the I think it was one of the NFL contracts, one of the big contracts for maybe it was Monday Night Football. I can't remember. They bought for next year. They bought some big contract with the
they
NFL.
did, yeah. So they're gonna have some games on there too. So it's it's crazy. Like 4 years from now, or who knows where the programs are,
Right.
and stuff. For all you know, Amazon Prime might have like something that's competing with the big program.
I mean, I'll tell you where the games are going to be. Germany. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
Okay. Apparently, there's going to be some NFL game played in Germany this year for the first time.
Is there?
Yeah.
I saw the London games.
Actually, Davis, can you look this up for me real quick? It's NFL Germany.
I know the MLB was trying to do something in Mexico, but then
I heard about that.
COVID messed everything up.
Yeah.
I know. Which one?
NFL football.
I mean,
in Germany.
They always I saw the London games that were announced.
Do you know what team?
Buccaneers would be designated to play an international series game in Munich, Germany during the 2022 season.
Wow,
Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
First NFL game ever played in Germany.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
big
it was-
news.
yeah, there was
going to be
there was,
big.
a couple years ago, NFL did a game in Mexico as well. So,
Right.
see, it's cool. It's cool to see them do it internationally. The London games are always fun to watch.
Their crowds are totally different.
Oh yeah, the crowd is
Totally
completely even
It's a soccer crowd.
even Yankees Red Sox. They did the first series in London last year. That was 2 years ago.
Oh,
Was
they
it
got
2 years ago?
Yankees Red Sox in London.
Remember,
Huh.
was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? They got Yankees Red Sox in London, and the final score of the first game ended up being like 17-13. And
Wow.
and then everyone was joking like, oh, maybe like the London people in London think that like that's normal for a baseball game.
Right.
It's like no, it's not. And the second game,
They're like, this is so entertaining.
and the second game was like 12-8. So there was a combined like 50 runs scored in the two games.
Oh my gosh.
And obviously not great for the pitchers. I mean, like I remember the first inning of that game in London. It was huge because the Yankees jumped on the scoreboard first, they scored like 6 runs in the first inning, in the top of the first inning.
Wow.
And the bottom of the first inning, the Red Sox scored 6 runs.
Right.
So the first inning itself took like an hour and a half to finish.
These Europeans are like, well, these Americans, they go hard. This is 50 runs.
Yeah, that was but again, that was really cool to see the series done in London. They're probably going to try and do do something else. They also did the Field of Dreams game in Iowa, which was awesome because the Field of Dreams movie, and then the game itself. Again, that was another Yankees. That was Yankees White Sox. That was a heartbreaker to watch for me. But it was an awesome event, like with the old school sort of like cornfields in Iowa.
Right.
It was really cool. Although I mean, again, like the stadium only seated like 8,000 or 9,000, but it was still awesome to see. And they're gonna probably do it going forward. And I'm hoping they eventually can do a full like 3-game series in there instead of just one game.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean the international reach is definitely expanding in all sports right now.
Yeah.
Especially as people realize that maybe cricket isn't actually as entertaining as they initially thought it was. I'm waiting for the day where they announce NFL to India, though.
So
that's going to be
actually
big
that's
day.
actually really funny that you bring that up.
Oh,
because obviously the NBA is starting to get pretty big in
China.
India. In India.
Oh,
as
in
well.
India, really? Huh. I had no idea.
A friend of ours, he actually used to be the CEO of NBA in India. So like,
oh, really?
He met a bunch of players. He met like Chris Bosh, Kevin Durant.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So in India they show a lot of NBA games. Like they show, I want to say like I don't know how many, but they show a good amount. So when I'm there, I can actually like see an NBA game. Same thing with the NFL. They've started to branch out and show NFL games in India. So that's really cool to see. Obviously nothing's gonna be cricket there, but
right. I mean, for now, it's shrinking. Have you heard?
No, I haven't.
Cricket's getting less and less popular, all over the place. I guess I don't know why actually, because watching it is actually pretty entertaining.
I mean, yeah, I went for the when I was on when I went to London, I went for one of the World Cup games there.
Did you?
It was an awesome atmosphere. India versus Pakistan. Again, that was like that atmosphere is different because the two countries, but like. It was awesome.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
awesome. I had an
true.
absolute blast. I think it's probably one of the top 5 moments of all time for me, at least at sporting events I've been at.
Really?
That's probably
Wow.
up there because it was a World Cup game in London. Got to go with my dad, which was first time ever, which was really cool because he had never been to one either. So
Just imagining India versus Pakistan. That must have been brutal.
I was actually like scared going into it, but it was actually just a really just nice atmosphere.
Okay.
Like. It was almost like it wasn't even like it was almost like a party atmosphere sort of thing. Like
We'll
people
leave
were like
we'll leave the whole fight thing
people
outside.
were like no they weren't. I didn't see any fights. People were
Good,
were like walking up and down the aisles like banging a drum and like dancing. So it was actually like it was really fun to watch. That was probably the highlight of at least my visit to London.
And are you a soccer fan at all?
Yeah,
I don't think you are. Okay.
I watch every time I can. I watch the Premier League. Sometimes I'll pop in
You cover everything
for La Liga, but yeah, I enjoy watching. Again, I would love to go for a Premier League game because those crowds are definitely built different compared to here.
Totally different.
So
totally different.
that'd be something I'd be down to go and see. But yeah, I try and do as much as possible, or like try and watch like as many sports as possible.
You must have a favorite
to watch.
Yeah, to watch.
Probably
I have my guesses.
Probably football.
Oh, I was wrong.
I'd also say tennis is up. I love watching.
I mean, you play.
I play tennis. I also go to the U.S. Opens. Although I don't think I'll be able to go this year because my start dates don't line up. But yeah, it's always cool going there.
Okay. Yeah, we do 15 minutes. Yeah.
So that's cool. Also, yeah, I'd say my probably 2 favorite are football and tennis to at least watch. Yeah.
Okay. I really love watching tennis too.
Yeah,
you know what I love watching more though?
What?
At the end when they shake hands, seeing how they react to each other. That's the most entertaining part.
It's because tennis is supposed to be like a respectful sport. So anytime you get some sort of like beef that like flares up, it's like huge because like
Kyrgios.
Kyrgios,
gosh, she's so good to watch.
Because like anytime there's like some sort of like small bit of beef, it's like blown out of proportions because it's supposed to be one of the sports where you're supposed to like say the right things. You respect your opponent,
right,
and all that stuff. Yada yada yada.
I mean, I always talk about this with people. You watch the big 3 in men's tennis, always fighting each other. There's Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and then also you throw in most of the top 10 players because they always they always play each other in these big tournaments. So they all more or less know each other at this point. And for some bizarre reason, whenever Serena Williams plays someone and loses, she looks like she's going to kill them. And it's like it's so weird.
It's probably a competitive thing.
I mean, probably, but like you watch Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, they're all buddies at this point. It's like, yeah, I lost,
Nadal,
but it's more of like a congratulations type thing.
Mhm.
Serena Williams wants to kill you. It's scary. And I don't know.
I have no idea about that, but it's a competitive. I assume it's a competitive thing.
Very competitive. I thought you were going to say NBA is your favorite to watch, actually. That's what I thought you were going to say.
See, the NBA, it's kind of like mixed. Like, obviously, I'll watch, but then like some of just like the way like the game is played, like there'll just be like things where like it becomes like unwatchable. sort of.
Right.
It's
at
like,
times I know.
A lot of the times, and like again, you get all those idiots on Twitter who like be like, "Oh, it's rigged," and stuff.
Right.
I hate it when people do that because I think it's just like blaming the refs is a huge cop out sort of thing for any. But again,
there are situations where it is the refs, but exactly right.
Yeah,
like, it's not.
obviously,
it's not consistent.
And again, I sympathize with the officials because like it's such a hard job. Like it's like. It's easy for us to like sit back and critique when we see it in like super slow motion.
Right.
It's like these guys are moving like extremely quick and like they're like they're diving on the floor, so it's you can't see stuff sometimes.
Right. And I've been to one. I think I told you this. I've been to one NBA game in my entire life. I went to that Knicks Celtics game earlier this season.
Oh, that must have been
It was a fun game.
It was fun, yeah.
Fun game. I went on the perfect day for it too. Everyone was having the time of their life, and the end was crazy.
So last year I got to go to the Knicks Hawks game 2 at MSG.
I remember this.
It was the first time since 2013 the Knicks were in the postseason.
Yeah.
So atmosphere was insane. It was awesome to be there. Especially considering that was when crowds were just starting to come back. So that was awesome. Again, that's also probably up there for like top 5 because I'd never been to a Knicks playoff game before, and people always say that MSG Madison Square Garden just has like different atmosphere, and I think I kind of felt it at that. That was awesome. That game.
Right.
That game was awesome to go to.
Are you a Trae Young fan?
See, like I don't hate Trae Young. I don't
really. Okay.
I'm not like those like hardcore New Yorkers who despise him. I mean, he's a good player. Like I'm not gonna like hate on him just because he it's kind of like the ultimate show of respect if you fear a guy.
Right.
Like every time he has the ball, I sort of like fear him because he killed us in that series, and all the native New Yorkers would be like, oh, I hate him. It's like, you can knock the way he plays and the way he draws fouls, but like
that's my thing. I don't like him. That's why though.
Again, that's just the way the game is going. But like he's a smart. I mean, he's a smart player, knows how to do that, and he's young, he's exciting. So like I don't hate him.
Right.
I don't mind him.
I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm gonna put air quotes around this in the sense that like I live near New York. I have to like the Knicks type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy when they're good. But at the same time, I'm also a Boston Celtics fan, so that only goes so far. But I don't like Trae Young specifically for what you said, the drawing fouls thing. I think it's the wimpiest way to play a game. Jumping into other people to draw fouls, to me, it's less. I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. But at the same time, I don't like that it's a part of the game. I think it'd be fun if we're all playing basketball and not doing our best instead to convince the officials to call a foul on us. As you said, like people say the refs stole the game all the time. That's not really their fault. It's more
just how the game is played,
how the players go about doing it, and I don't like it. That's my biggest pet peeve with the NBA is the fact that it was this year less so. And
this year
they
actually made like a bunch of rules that if you can't kick your leg out when you shoot, or that'll be an offense.
I think should be
that'd be an offensive foul. So stuff like that. So they are trying, but again, it's tough to even enforce those rules just because
in the way, especially because the moment they make a rule stopping one thing, they figure it out a different way. It's evolution.
It's evolution.
Right.
It's like a lot of Celtic fans are complaining about how Giannis just because they're playing the Bucks right now in that series,
right?
Like how he just barrels into people and elbows them. I'm like, okay, yeah. I can see, and they're like, oh, he plays football, and people on Twitter will be like, Giannis be like, and just post a running back running over people, and it's like, I get what you're saying at the same time, but it's just like tough to officiate. It's sort of like what like Shaquille. I'm not comparing Giannis to Shaq because Shaq in his prime was probably the most unstoppable player the league probably will ever see. But like it just used to be like, what's a foul? He's just like ragdolling and throwing people. It's like so. It's the same thing with like Giannis. Like what's an offense? What's a defense? He's just too strong. He's just like elbow. He's just like ragdolling people. So it's like it's tough to call. So
my favorite player is Zion, which in his strategy isn't exactly the same as Giannis, but it's reminiscent.
It will be. It will be. You know, he's just a strong guy who gets to the paint, and it's like again he'll shake guys and throw guys off him, and it's like again he's just too strong. So what?
He weighs 300 pounds. Why wouldn't he do that?
Yeah,
right.
It's like,
and I mean, to be fair, he is crazy efficient in the paint. You've seen his stats.
Yeah.
He had like 73% field goal in the paint the last
insane.
season.
Yeah,
he
it's
played.
insane.
Absolutely absurd. But you're right. Every player's got a different strategy, and it's hard to deal with people harping on them for using their strengths. You know?
It's like I'm not gonna blame Zion for like if he can throw a guy off him and do it. It's like, and the man's like you said, 300 pounds. He's probably extremely strong. So it's like I don't know what you want.
Beast. Like that's what he's got to do.
What you want. I don't know what you. Yeah, I mean, you can complain about it, but like complaining about it it's not gonna get you anywhere. So
and playing to your strengths is a big thing in any sport, in any walk of life in general. Like you should never be harped on for playing to your strengths. That being said, I don't really see drawing fouls as playing to your strengths. But but on that note, like I see exactly what you're saying with the officials thing, like people constantly calling them out for not officiating the right way. But since every player in every sport has their different strengths and different ways of doing things, it's hard to
it's hard to
look at a ref and say you should have done this better because for this player maybe you should have, for the other one why not? It's like, and it's like. It's easy for us to like sit back and critique, like when we're watching in like super slow motion 3 different camera replays. Right.
And obviously now you can challenge calls, but like
they're
not going to go to the monitor for every single foul. So it's like again, it's like you have to realize that like official mistakes are just going to be baked into the game. That's just how it works. There's going to be some sort of official mistakes like that's just
human
how
error.
It is.
Human error.
It's human error. So like
it's like a science project.
I don't know what you want. What you want. So I mean, and again, like the Boston fans will complain, but like I know it's just funny when like people complain. It's like you can easily disprove that. Like they complain about the officials in Game 3 because there was a late call that like didn't go their way. But then look at the last 4 minutes. Boston shot 17 free throws. Milwaukee didn't shoot a single free throw. So.
Right.
So it's like I don't know what you want me to. I don't know what you want to. I don't know what you're trying to prove here. I mean, saying that the refs are on the other team's side, it's I mean, that's just not. I mean, you can think that way, but it's not going to help you. You might as well. Obviously, the players don't think. Players can be upset with calls, but obviously they're not going to think that way. You can just suck it up and you got to play better.
You have to go with it.
Yeah, play better. So
if the officials aren't working in your favor, then you should play better basketball and not worry about it.
No, it's like look at how you got in that situation. Why were you down 15 with like 5 minutes to play? Maybe you should look at that instead of trying to complain that they stole the game at the end, or why you are say like with Memphis last night. A lot of people are complaining that Steph Curry, there was like an over the back foul on Desmond Bane for Memphis that was called, and a lot of people are like, okay, well that was not that looked really light, and it did look a little light. Obviously Steph sold it pretty well, but at the same time I'm looking at them and being like, I mean, okay, look at yourself now. What happened after that? I mean, you guys took horrible shots down the stretch, and you can control that. Like you can't control the officials, so
there's always another explanation.
Yes, focus on the things you can control.
Exactly.
It's not going to do you any good.
I mean, on that note, actually, I don't know if you've definitely seen this interview. Skip Bayless with Mark Cuban. Have you seen this interview?
Yes, I have. Of course, I've seen it.
That's a great example of something like that. For this, kind of going back to LeBron again, because Skip Bayless equals LeBron, but constantly harping on LeBron for doing different things. Skip Bayless, and then Mark Cuban comes in. Actually, the reason he missed every shot is because we did this, and this, adjusted to him by doing this, and this. There's always another explanation to why something went wrong.
Yeah, the problem is with superstars, they're going to say, well, they melted. or they didn't perform well.
Even
but,
superstars can be affected by great defense.
Mark Cuban brings up a great point there. It's like maybe you should credit Dallas there, because at that time when LeBron first came into the league, he was a he liked to dilly-dally around the 3-point arc. He didn't like to get inside and post up, which now he does a lot more of, which helped him because you have to evolve.
Yeah, 6'9", 250. Should have been doing that from the beginning.
But again, he wasn't like that when he first came in.
Right.
But
right.
So then the defense eventually adjusted to it. So Mark Cuban, he brought up the point there. We threw a lot of different bodies at him. We did all this, we did all that. And that's the same thing. People are heavily criticizing Kevin Durant for the way he played against Boston, and it's highly deserved because he didn't play well. But again, you have to credit Boston's defense. Boston, again, they're doing a great job on Giannis now because they can throw multiple people at you. They threw Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart at some points, maybe even Al Horford at KD, and it's tough when a lot of teams don't usually have the lineup or roster where you can throw 5 or 6 different people at a player. And that's exactly what they did. They got physical with him, and they were able to completely, take him out of his rhythm. And they're similarly doing that to Giannis. They're putting different guys on him. Once it's Al Horford, sometimes Jason Tatum. Now it's mostly Al Horford because he's doing a great job staying in front of him. So it's like you have to give Boston credit because there's the reason why they were the number 1 team in defense this year.
It's almost a double standard. You can blame it on one thing, but there's always other aspects at play that you're not paying attention to.
Yeah, 100%.
But to be fair, people often avoid those aspects on purpose.
Well, yeah, they'll avoid them because it's supposed to be superstars make superstar things happen. And again, I hate people try and think of these guys like they're machines. So for example, last year in Brooklyn, it was a Game 7 between Milwaukee and Brooklyn, Game 7, and Kevin Durant had played every single minute up to that point, and they're in overtime, so it's 54 minutes, and then he airballs the game-tying shot, and people are like, oh, he airballs. It's like,
what is
the
this,
dude
right?
played the same thing. It's like the dude played 54 minutes.
Right.
What do you
If I go to the gym and then go and try to shoot hoops afterwards, I won't make the first shot. Imagine 41 minutes later.
And then again, people are like, especially all those old time people will be like, oh well, Jordan never did. I mean, people forget in that Game 6 closeout game against Utah when Jordan won his final championship, he didn't shoot the ball well. He was, especially in the third quarter, he was short on a couple of his jump shots, hitting front rim, and that was because he was gassed because he was older at that stage and he played every single minute up to that point. So it's like
everything's easier in hindsight.
Everything's
easier to look at in hindsight.
It's like I can't fault Kevin Durant for airballing that shot. I mean, the dude had played 58 minutes of a Game 7 and already a really tough physical series. It's
playing
like
the future champions.
Who eventually went on to win the championship. So
right.
It's like again, because he's a superstar, people are going to expect him to make that shot. But it's like when you're gassed like that, the first things to go is your legs. So I can't fault him. Even yesterday, down the stretch, Giannis, people are going to say he didn't do much in the fourth quarter. But, he pretty much had to play mostly the whole game. He played out of the 48 minutes, I want to say he played around 40, 42. So it's like, and again, they don't have Chris Middleton, their second option, so he's having to carry the load offensively. And it's like, what can you expect from the guy? That's why I envy LeBron so much because he's had so many tough expectations put on him from when he was our age because he was drafted straight out of high school. So
That's true. He was 18 when he got to the NBA.
19-year-old, and he somehow lived up to all those expectations. So, people want to, will put unfair criticism on him for this year's season with the Lakers, be like, oh, well, he got tired down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I'm like, okay, he's been in the league for 19 years.
How many fourth quarters has this guy played in?
And he just turned 37. And when he first signed his contract with the Lakers, he was definitely not expecting to play these accelerated minutes because he thought Anthony Davis would be held. I think at that point the Lakers would have much rather hoped that Anthony Davis would become the primary the leading scorer on their team because when they won the championship in the bubble, LeBron led the team in assists, AD led the team in scoring, and LeBron could take over when he so desired he need to. Now all of a sudden, LeBron has to try and score 50 for you to even have a chance at winning the game.
Right.
So again, you can put a bunch of things on the Lakers season, and it's not just him. So again, these guys are human.
Right. It's a team sport, which everyone undermines.
Yep.
All the time. Somebody once told me, and this is kind of a thing for every sport, winning regular season games, you can have an individual star, but in order to win a championship, you need a whole team. So that's why LeBron has been to the finals 10 times and only I say only loosely, only won 4 of them, because he's half the time been leading a team of nobody.
He's had good teams, but I want to, in those 6 finals losses, his team was only favored to win the series 1 time, and that was the first one. Actually, maybe 2. I don't know if he was favored in the San Antonio series, but he was definitely favored in his first finals when they played Dallas. Maybe the last year in Miami when they played San Antonio, he might have been favored. So, again, and you look at those other 4 times he lost. I mean, he got there when he was really young, and they got swept by the Spurs, who at that point were extremely dominant. All right, they lose.
That was Tim Duncan. They had who else? They have Tony Parker.
Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. That was when they were all relatively, or like not old, but and then the second series he loses. He they always look at Golden State like, oh, Golden State beat him 3 out of the 4 years. Well, 2015, Kyrie Irving goes down after Game 1. You didn't have Kevin Love the entire postseason. Okay, and then you come back, you win the championship in 7, and then they get Kevin Durant, and that's just an unfair team.
It's over.
So. Again, like, the thing about NBA playoffs is people are always going to say, like, even with the Bucks last year, oh, they only got through because Kyrie Irving was injured. They only got through because blah, 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 or Kawhi Leonard was injured. But if you look at it that way, then we can go back the last 13-plus years, and I can give you all the rings that are not legitimate, if that's how you want to argue, because of injuries. I can tell you that the Warriors' 2015 championship is not legitimate because Kyrie Irving went down. I can tell you the Warriors championship in 2017 is not legitimate because Chris Paul in the Western Conference Finals goes down when they're up 3-2. So I can play. You can play that card all you want, but then you're pretty much discrediting almost every single.
Injuries are part of the game. You can't discredit something because someone got injured, type thing. But actually, real quick, 'cause I don't know how much time we left, Davis.
We're at 1:15.
1:50. Okay. Last question then, because I really do want to ask this.
Okay.
How do you decide exactly what to cover in each of your podcasts? So much happens in the sports world every single week. How do you decide what specifically you want to cover?
I try and do things that have happened recently. So it's always tough when I upload on a Saturday because I don't know if I want to talk about things that happen on Monday. But if it's that big, then I'll talk about it. So I want to talk about either things that have happened recently or things that I feel are important that'll grab the headlines. So anything when it comes to the Lakers, I'll talk about that because the Lakers are a big franchise. Anything that happens with the Giants or the Yankees, or the Knicks, because those are my teams that I support. And I'll sometimes cover tennis because, like the Novak Djokovic thing, it was huge. It was huge, especially for tennis. So I thought
it was huge in the world, not just sport.
It would be best to cover that. So kind of things that'll relatively grab the headlines, or things that hometown sports teams that I enjoy. So
right, okay, we do have to wrap up. It's been an hour and 16 minutes exactly. I'll have you know. Thank you, Rahill, so much for coming. It turned into a bit of a nothing but sports podcast, but I don't mind it all. But thanks for coming. I'm gonna play the outro. You ready?
Yeah.
Actually, you want to press the button? Just be right here.
And this one right here.
This one right there. Yeah. That was fun.
That was really fun.